Mic check, 1, 2. As we are officially, guys, now 50 days less than away from the start of the 2024 NFL season. It almost sounds weird to say. We're getting excited here. Your boys got some camp tickets. We're trying to go to Tampa. We'll discuss that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and get this ball rolling, guys. Welcome into another episode of the R&R, the Raven recap here on Friday with your boy Darwin's Raven. Welcome in, everyone. And of course, unless you've been under a rock somewhere, you haven't seen Baltimore just signed a brand new safety addition, a veteran coming here to M&T Bank Owen Mills to join the Ravens. We're pretty excited about that, and that's probably where we're going to go ahead and get started for the day. I love it. But let me get Poe off your screen, and let me get the PowerPoint up. I don't know why it's not. Why is it not pulling up? Oh, it is. I'm just so stupid. It looks the same as my background. I'm just dumb. Ignore me. But let me just do one last change here real quick. Okay, it's still all set. But yeah, we're gonna start the R&R here with a little bit of, you know, a sad and somber moment. Of course, a legend in the Ravens community, Jacoby Jones, passed away. Still pretty young, in my opinion. I believe he was about 40 years old. Jacoby, I was talking. I've been holding off on doing Jacoby video for a while now. I didn't want to be part of that original round of people coming out. God, my nose is like getting tickled by a mustache hair. um, but I didn't want anyone thinking that we were trying to get views and clicks for Jacoby. You know what I'm saying? And so I felt that it was only right to take a little more time, reflect on it all before we ever said anything. But I spoke to a little bit with a girlfriend about this, how Jacoby really held a special place in my heart as a Ravens fan. Um, from that magical playoff run, the kickoff returns that year, the Mile High Miracle, that year of football was actually the very first year I truly got to go enjoy the games with friends. I just, my family's not Raven fans. I don't really have any friends that are Raven fans. So I never really got to have that community feeling, which we all know that's a big part of football. And that year, I was living in Ohio with two roommates. First time I really spent a lot of time with these guys. And we would go out to Buffalo Wild Wings every Sunday to watch the games. And they weren't really football guys themselves, but they honestly just enjoyed, I think, the companionship and just hanging out. And so that 2013 season, we would go and get our wings and we would take turns buying the giant beer tubes, um, and we would share beer tubes. And it was, like I said, it holds a special place in my heart because it was the first time I really got to enjoy games with friends and have like that. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That special feeling when you're just surrounded by friends and all rooting for the same team. And I converted both of them to flock members. So watching that magical Mile High Miracle with my friends in that bar was something that just forever sticks in my mind and heart. So I really thank Jacoby for that moment, and I hope his family's doing well. But all right, we had our somber moment. I'm sorry I started off with that, guys, but dude, my heart hurts even just talking about it. It'd be 100%. Let's talk about the new free agent addition. A lot of people wasn't on their radar. He wasn't even on much on mine. Like I kept looking at him, but I wasn't sure. So 30 years old, 6 foot, 206, former Alabama Crimson Tide safety, taken in the fourth round by the Chicago Bears. Going back to that 2018, he was the best safety in football that year. It's what landed him a contract extension, which, he may or may not have lived up to. But he battled some injuries coming into this last season. I want to say somewhere around week 5 through 9. Missed some time. Came back, 60 coverage grade, not what, you really won't. But we're hoping to get that 2018 to 2020 snap count. He played a lot of snaps most years. Career coverage grade comes out to above, I want to say, a 76 overall. He's bounced around a little bit between free safety and strong safety, which is one of the things that we're really leaning on. As you can see there, 74.3 in 2022. Looking at the bottom side of your screen, he played mostly as a free safety, but also can play up at the box, as well as playing 100, 200 snaps in those earlier seasons in the slot. One thing we are going to be keeping an eye on, though, on the bottom right side of your screen is the tackling numbers. As you can see there, he's got some problems with tackling, apparently. 15.6% missed last year and basically above 10% career-wise. Hopefully we can get that down a little bit, but he's got some good stops and all that. I had to make some changes, Penguin. You kept posting links in my thing, and my stream bot was going crazy trying to get rid of you, honestly, because it has higher moderation power, and technically no links are allowed by anyone other than me or my bots. So it probably kicked you off of that, my guess, for that reason. One of the stats, though, we were brought up by Jonah Schaefer is the on-off splits can be a little misleading and noisy. Here's the Bears 2023 defense with and without Eddie Jackson. And as you can see there on the right side of your screen, my camera doesn't cover up. Success rate of 6 with him on the field, 11th without. EPA or efficiency per play attempt per dropback, 7th with, 30 without. And yards per play allowed, 12th with, 23rd without. So bringing in Eddie Jackson here to play a little bit of this hybrid split role that Geno Stone used to play could play dividends. Geno was never known for his elite level athleticism. What he was known for in our community was pretty good ball skills and a nose for the football. He always ran and hustled to the ball. One of my favorite things here about Eddie Jackson, as you can see, a career-long Bear. Everyone knows how hard that has been over the past few years. Chicago has not been the most well-run organization. And after Roquan Smith actually left Chicago, and Robert Quinn as well, Eddie Jackson was one of those guys that stepped up as a leader in Chicago. So reuniting Eddie Jackson with Roquan could be huge and help him, really ease this transition in. Some of the other safety names that were often discussed were guys like Adrian Amos, of course, Jamal Adams, who ended up signing with the Tennessee Titans, as well as the former Denver Bronco Justin Simmons, who I think was the fan favorite for this. Eddie Jackson, absolutely love this pick by DaCosta. I think this could pay huge dividends. Dude used to take, in that 2019 or 2018 season, I think he had 5 or 6 defensive touchdowns because he kept taking them back to the house. He showed great ability to bait quarterbacks over the middle. So hopefully we'll see a little bit about that. I'll check on it later, Penguin, for sure. Moving on to our next subject. If you haven't seen, guys, this is starting to get a little bit of a trendy thing here on Twitter. We've got the Battle for 8. Jackson versus Aikman. So if you're unaware of what's going on here with this situation, Lamar Jackson, of course, LJ8 has had a lot of his brands and trademarks that he's working on tied to the number 8. Well, I guess Troy Aikman has also has a trademark on the letter number 8. Jackson, of course, saying that he had put his in before Aikman. A lot of people joking, I didn't even know you could own a number. U.S. trademark laws are definitely very interesting. And this is going to be something to keep an eye on a little bit. Jackson, of course, really has made, I believe, 2 or 3 different filings. Neither Jackson's lawyers or ESPN has been able to get any real comments about the ongoing thing here, but it's a funny thing, the battle for 8. And of course, adding on to a little bit, hey, what up, Joe Stevens? New phone, who dis? Can't trademark a number. Hey, you take it up with the trademark office. It just adds on a little bit. Of course, Baltimore will be playing the NFC East this year, so we're really looking forward to that Dallas matchup. I believe was it 3, 4, 5, somewhere between week 1 and 5. Of course, opening up KC as well. Baltimore got that brutal schedule to start the season. Oh yeah, Joe Stevens always got that like and subscribe. Seahawks can't trademark 12. That's why all the off-branded Seahawks gear just have the number 12 with the skyline. Very interesting. Very interesting. Joe Stevens, I'm not going to subscribe. You're funny, my guy. And Raven fans, a lot of people probably haven't heard about this, but Raven fans, like me, we've been a little frothing at the mouth about what they've been saying. So Marlon Humphrey been getting some mad disrespect, like from guys like Alex K of Bleacher Report. Marlon Humphrey had a lighthearted response on social media to Bleacher Report's Alex K, calling him the most overrated defensive back in the league. But Baltimore's beatdown Joshua Reed didn't mince words in the defense of Humphrey. And again, in the words of Joshua Reed from Baltimore Beatdown, K's pick for the most overrated cornerback in the league is Baltimore Ravens 3-time Pro Bowler Marlon Humphrey, which is not only wrong, but asinine, and he began his argument with contradictory statements. Reed was, of course, referring to K writing that Humphrey is 1 year removed from his most recent of 3 Pro Bowls in 2019, and that he's been slipping for years. Marlon, in 626 coverage snaps, without giving up a score in 2022, were the most in the league by more than 200, according to Pro Football Focus. He battled injuries last year. He had foot surgery going into training camp that, of course, set him back to at the beginning of the season. And that's why, again, we were so heavy on the Brandon Stevens Pro Bowl train, playing 100% of the defensive snaps to start the season while Marlon recovered. Even with the foot surgery, Marlon still only gave up 1 touchdown, 21 completions, and the lowest completion percentage of his career at 46.7%, and the lowest opposing passer rating of his career at 64.6 in the last 10 games, according to Pro Football Reference. So, Marlon getting some shade out of nowhere while quietly putting together almost one of his best years on record. One of the better things we don't have here on the notes is Marlon actually moved to slot a lot. So it means that, with guys like Geno gone, Arthur Mullet played a lot in the slot. Arthur Mullet can play a little bit of everything. I wasn't even sure the Baltimore Ravens were going to sign a safety, to be 100% honest with you, just because the depth we have at cornerback. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens have Brandon Stevens, Arthur Mullet, and Marlon Humphrey. They also have recent draft picks in Demarion Pepe Williams and Jalen Armour Davis, Houston and Alabama, respectively. I'm Nate Wiggins and TJ Tampa in this year's draft. We've got a lot of depth at corner, and then we've got, guys that have been battling on and off the roster in camp for a while. So I was wondering maybe if the Ravens were going to take one of these corners and really play them a lot more at safety potentially. But with Marlon's utility at playing outside and in the slot, it's going to allow TJ or Nate to play wherever they're most comfortable coming in. And of course, Demarion Pepe Williams, we mentioned his name a moment ago, was slotted to win the starting job, slot job last year in camp, but of course battled with injuries. That's been the constant story of him and Jalen Armour Davis. They've got great talent. It's just if they can stay healthy. Jalen's got a lot more, I think, talent on the outside, while, of course, Demarion's got great slot potential. The Ravens secondary, we were worried about last year, has all of a sudden turned into potentially the greatest strength on this team. Mind blown by what Eric DeCosta has done there in Baltimore. This is something, too, we wanted to address. Baltimore has gotten a lot of talk, of course, that they have one of the hardest schedules in the league. There's a good bit of traveling involved as well. But Sharp Football Analysis was quoted by Warren Sharp that the Ravens have a nest rest edge, which is calculating when teams come into games with more or less than the same amount of rest that their opponent is getting. Are you coming into Thursday night football playing on Sunday night or Monday night? That could be a huge advantage, a whole day of rest not being there. The Ravens are technically a plus 16 days of net rest edge. That is the number one largest net rest edge in database history, which includes back up to 35 years in 1990, of course, before the Ravens were even instituted. It's the largest in recent modern history, and if I remember correctly, it says here the Ravens have 5 games in which they'll have a positive rest advantage and only 2 games with a negative rest advantage. That gave them a plus 18 days rest advantage, according to Sharp, in his which is historic. Prior to 2024, no team in history had a more than plus 17. And the only team that's had it anywhere close to this is the Dallas Cowboys of 2022. In 2022, only one team played 5 games with more rest than their opponent, and that was the Cowboys. They exceeded their 10-win projection by winning a total of 12 games that year as well. Could that bode well, of course, for the Baltimore Ravens a little later in the season? We're super excited about that. We have the number 2 most short week road games and are tied for number 1 in most Sunday and Monday night games, including the dreaded 3-game in 10-day scenario. So it's going to get crazy in Baltimore. We're super excited for it. It's going to be a crazy season. Kenny's asked, what does R&R stand for? Ravens and Raccoons? It stands, of course, for the Raven Recap, which thank you for joining us, and Kenny. You got your show tomorrow tomorrow night, correct, Kenny? What up, Hassan? Welcome to the flock, my boy. Welcome in. Kenny says the schedule is tough this season. It is. The entire AFC North has just got an incredibly hard schedule. So, of course, with the Ravens signing Eddie Jackson, there's not too many holes left on this roster. Maybe some Raven fans were thinking about signing a wide receiver, but just the way the market's looking, I don't see a lot of guys that I won't. But this is a guy that I've been keeping my eye on here for a little bit. The Ravens are really hoping Adisa Isaac and David Ajabo really step up. We've got young guys like Malik Cam, and of course we re-signed Kyle Van Noy. But in the instance that someone's not able to step up, not looking good, injury, something, this is a guy that I think would really succeed here in Baltimore. I would really like to see him. Of course, he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year, and that's Marcus Golden, the 6'3", 260-pound edge player, picked in the second round in 2015. And my camera is kind of covering up a little bit of his grades. But an 80.9 pass rush grade last year in only 88 snaps. Had a 77.8 run defense grade as well. We were able to get some production out of Jadeveon. I really think we could get it out of Marcus. Marcus put up, I think, like 4 sacks in the very limited snaps he got behind Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. Pittsburgh had their real designated edge rusher. So Marcus made a good opportunity, I felt like, out of not a lot. And he's definitely one of those guys. He's basically, as you can see right there, down the pass rush. Or no, I'm sorry, it's covered by my camera. He's had a 70 pass rush 3 out of the last 4 years. His run defense, 3 out of the past 3 years, has been 63 or higher. 11 sacks, I believe, in 2021 with Arizona. So I just got a feeling, guys. I feel like he would be a great addition. I know Baltimore still might be thinking about a little bit of an edge, but we'll see about it. Kenny's messing with me. He says, I know I saw it in the description. Hassan says, we need a wide receiver for insurance. Can we trade for DK? Hassan, bro, I've been trying to get DK for years. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. I feel like if we had DK for Lamar, this Ravens team would be dynamically different. I've been a constant guy that I feel like Lamar needs that jump ball kind of guy, someone that really can just take anyone one-on-one and not just with the speed move. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been a fan of DK's game. I know the 49ers don't like him very much as well. But I feel you on that. Of course, the Ravens have Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace, Deontay Hardy, and then we've got a few guys we're battling on the outsides as well. We'll go over that here just a little bit probably. But yeah, wide receiver is another one. But if you look at the market, I'm not a fan of Michael Thomas. I'm really wondering what's going on with my boy Hunter Renfrow. I really was hoping he was going to sign somewhere. Russell Gage, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, I think is one of the other interesting guys on that list. 2 700-yard seasons down in Tampa not too long ago. But the wide receivers that are left aren't that great. But there could be some interesting camp cuts that we're going to be keeping an eye on. I've already got a preliminary list of potential camp cuts in one of my other PowerPoint presentations, so we'll keep an eye on that. Kenny says loss of Greg Roman going to be a huge deal. I mean, Todd Monken, already proved that, last year. And this is something I talked about. I said, hey, guys, if Todd Monken gives Lamar an MVP season, he's not going to be our offensive coordinator for long. Someone's going to take him as a head coach. And that holds true. Mike McDonald got his job after 2 years. Todd Monken, is he going to keep that trend too? 2 years, get a head coaching job? What kills me the most is that Harbaugh is going to get so much praise when he does. He didn't give the job to Mike McDonald originally. He gave it to Wink Martindale, which we all know was the bad decision. But Steve Biscotti, our owner, and EDC, our GM, were very vocal that they were more involved in the search for the offensive coordinator last year than they ever have been under Harbaugh. Maybe no coincidence, we finally got the most competent and best offensive coordinator we've ever had in Baltimore, at least in a very long time. But I'm very interested, Kenny. I don't know if you know this. We play the LA Chargers this year. So we get the Harbaugh v 2.0 this year. I've got a special preview show. I've already reached out to Locked On Chargers, part of that Locked In group that, they cover every single team. So if you're looking for a team, Locked In or Locked On and the team, and you can probably find someone that represents them. We reached out to them, to do a preview show. So hopefully we're going to have a real fun preview show of the Harbaugh v 2.0. They've got Jim Harbaugh. They've got Greg Roman. They've got, I think, Bozeman's over there. Gus Edwards is there. J.K. Dobbins is there. Ben Mason, our former fullback, is there. Like, the list goes on and on, man, of the former Ravens that are now part of the LA Chargers. I'm excited to see that team, though. I really am. Hassan says, Gilmore, is he still coming to Baltimore? Man, if you're talking about Stephon Gilmore, it would have been great, but just I don't think there's really a need. Baltimore has so many good corners right now at this point. A lot of young guys that need to, Demarion Pepe Williams and Jalen Armour Davis are in make or break seasons. If they don't pan out, maybe Baltimore ends up releasing one of them or trading one of them potentially and signing a veteran. But I really don't know if they would go down that route. What up, Grandizer? How you doing, my guy? And welcome in, CarCast. Yeah, it's been a while, my guy. I've done a little bit here and there. CarCast says thoughts on Kyle Hamilton this year, dude. We're excited about him, man. It's so funny. So I was one of the people that called Kyle Hamilton out his very first year, like in the Miami game. He blew the assignments, but Raven fans were dogging this kid, and I said, "Hey guys, he's a rookie, man. Just give him some time. He is showing incredible growth right now from those first 4 games of his first season to the end of that first season. Give the kid a chance to breathe. If you look at his stats, Ed Reed wasn't Ed Reed in his first rookie year either. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, Kyle Hamilton goes out and has a defensive player of the year type of year last year. And we're looking for him to take that even further jump in year 3. I really like the addition too of Eddie Jackson today. And if Marcus Williams, who the thing is, when we signed Marcus Williams to this 5-year mega deal, our other free safety, he was actually known for not being injured. He was a very sturdy safety. And of course, the past 2 years has struggled with injuries for Baltimore. But when he's back there, no safety in football is as good as him as just making sure nobody gets behind them. And people used to say that they wanted Geno over him. I tell those people, you didn't see that Marcus, when he's running full speed, has that like half a step to a step faster than Geno. No disrespect to Geno. I love Geno Stone, and I wish him the best in Cincinnati, except for 2 weeks out of every year, or 2 games basically this season. But allowing Kyle Hamilton just to do his thing and be the Swiss Army knife player that he is exactly what we needed, and I think this addition will help. But yeah, Marcus Golden, another player we're keeping an eye on at edge. And I don't think I'd really gotten a chance to talk about this at all on our live, so we're going to address it here about the new kickoff that's going on. And this is a little snippet here from Horton. Chris Horton, who is our special teams coordinator. He's, basically talking about how we're going to build things. We've been watching the XFL film, looking at different angles of things, that are going on, and they're excited about but one thing they mentioned is something that I've been talking about in some of the 49er channels is that the Ravens could end up using a bigger personnel package. Previously, you always had gunners, which were your wide receivers, corners, safeties, playing on the outside, maybe the tight ends and linebackers on the inside, but you needed a lot of faster guys to get down the field. With this new kickoff rule and them only being 10 yards apart, or I believe 10 to 20 yards apart, speed is not as big as getting a good block on somebody here. And so of course, there's the part of this, happening. Dude, are we going to see kind of wedges coming back? All the extra offensive linemen out there? I'd be down for that. I would 100% have, because here's my thing. I would have different packages designed to try to throw them for a loop. So in this instance, let's say we go out there and our base package is linebackers and tight ends out there. No DBs. Maybe just 2 DBs on the outside, safeties, your traditional gunner still there. Now we go for the second kickoff, but instead of trotting out my normal, I trot out, my bigger personnel package that maybe has 2 or 3 backup offensive linemen somewhere stationed in there. And we're designing a run somewhere or a style of run with it. Bro, you get 6'9", 300-pound tackle that runs 5.0 in the open. In that situation, he could wreak absolute havoc on 190-pound defensive backs or 220-pound linebackers. And my ultimate goal, 100% ultimate goal of all of that is to force a timeout from special teams. If I can ever force them to take a timeout and talk it over and maybe make a few changes, that is a net win as a head coach for me. And would be the ultimate goal, just to kind of throw them for some loops a little bit here and there. Maybe I'm a little crazy with it, but the bigger implication of this story is on long-term roster composition. The NFL is a passing league. It's actually always benefited us that we could stack extra corners and safeties and use them as special teams players. That's why you keep 6 to 8 DBs. You keep a lot of DBs on the roster. You keep more DBs than wide receivers usually. So with that being said, could linebackers, especially off-ball, non-edge rushing linebackers, have really taken a hit in value over the years? We're victim of it. We know that there is a rule basically in the NFL. You can only pay one off-ball linebacker. It's why last year when we signed Roquan to extension, the writing was on the wall. Even though everyone was like, no, it's not. The writing was on the wall that Patrick Queen was going to have to leave. No, ill will towards that. I love PQ still, man. I'd love to go fishing with him. I don't like fishing off land, but I love fishing off a boat and drinking a beer. You feel me? I guess that's the Southern in me. So with that, we drafted Trenton Simpson out of Clemson with our third round pick last year. He's been groomed to take it. It's why no one's, Baltimore did not draft any other inside linebackers. Baltimore did not sign any other inside linebackers. We got it under control. Malik Harrison's listed as an outside. He was drafted as an inside. He can play both. We've got Josh Ross, and we've got some other young guys that we're excited about. So we're good there on that second position. But maybe this will give a little bit more value to these linebackers coming into the NFL, and maybe with more guys getting a chance at a roster spot because of special teams at linebacker, maybe we'll find more diamonds in the rough, those gems. Inside linebacker can be a little weak for most teams, basically. Kenny said, I had a dream. It was Detroit and Baltimore in the Super Bowl. The two cities, they really need some love. I know, right? Baltimore needs some love after the bridge collapse, and Detroit just needs love because it's Detroit, and Eminem released an album this year, right? Fun little thing too, if you missed this little tidbit the other day, so apparently Henry's financial advisor kind of was talking about it, and Henry was talking about diet. And, we've been working out a lot. Tonight's gym night, actually. Even though I'm moving Wednesday next week, we're still going to the gym tonight. We basically been I know I need to move to a push-pull regimen and refine my workout routine. But we've been doing just upper, lower, basically back and forth. So, this week was Monday and Friday or upper, Wednesdays lower. The next week it would be Monday and Friday or lower body, with Wednesday being upper. And we've seen some good, strong growth in the legs over the past month or so. But with that, one of the things that we found, and I was like, man, I just feel like I'm not feeling good lately. Like, I feel like I'm struggling in the gym even, like to get my gains. And I know I'm old, but I feel like something doesn't feel right. And so I did the math. I was like, you know what? I know calorie calculations are important. And I found out, I'm a bigger guy, guys. I'm like 6'3", about 225 to 230. Apparently, to maintain my weight as a 34-year-old, 6'3" man, I need somewhere around like 2,800 to 2,900 calories a day, which on average, I was probably eating like 1,500 or less, which is why I felt so horrible and was struggling also in the gym and, to get gains essentially. So it's something I'm taking a lot of focus on now, trying to, really improve my diet. But Henry's financial advisor, Pete Kodos, estimates Henry spends approximately $240,000 a year on body maintenance, which includes employing a personal chef who prepares all of his meals. He eats no fried foods, gluten, dairy, or artificial sugars. One of those fun fact, this might sound familiar to Ravens and Steeler fans. ESPN a long time ago when James Harrison was in his twilight years with the Pittsburgh Steelers actually did a whole story piece on this and talked about, as a older veteran, how much he actually invested back into his body every year to ensure that he could play at that elite level, and mostly so that he could recover properly. If I remember correctly, the documentary, you can probably go find it. I think he employed somewhere between like 5 and 9 personal masseuses, all trained in different styles of massage, and all had them like on payroll, salary, weekly schedules. Like, I think Dude Man spent like $2 million a year or some crazy number, on all of this. During the season, he doesn't eat his first meal till 4 or 5 p.m. and eats only one other meal, usually around 8 p.m. In the off season, his first meal is around 1 p.m., so he gets a little early. And when he does eat, he consumes nearly enough for Pride of Lions. So there's scientific reason to this, actually. So this is something that was taught to me as a soccer player growing up. Soccer is a long and hard game of constant running. There ain't quarters, man. Like, the timeouts aren't the same. It's a long endurance style game. And so with soccer, our coaches used to preach to us when we were kids to really, and this is the crazy thing, growing up in the South, they were on top of this diet-wise, to focus on your meal the 24 hours before your game. And of course, they always would teach us to really carb load, go super heavy, pasta, eat till you're going to burst. Because it takes about 24 hours for your body to truly process all of those carbohydrates you're taking in, which is why he's doing 4 to 8 o'clock games, because that's when he really wants that energy, and he might feel that his body processes it just before 24. Honestly, there's nothing better than having that huge pregame meal the night before your game, basically. The big number 2 that comes with it right before the game when you get those game nervous shits. And then, Kenny says Brady eventually was the same way, and that's intermittent fasting. I do the same. You know what? And I like to preach to people. I'm a man of science. I'm a man of medicine. My doctor actually was also a practicing chiropractor. Or I'm sorry, my physiology and anatomy teacher was actually a practicing chiropractor. So I felt like he had a good balance of homeopathy and traditional medicine and like alternative medicine. So a lot of people don't believe in intermittent fasting. However, actual scientific studies show that intermittent fasting has great benefits in like the production of new types of stem cells in your gut. And for people that actually have chronic GI issues, intermittent fasting could have potential implications on improving their condition. So yeah, intermittent fasting actually good. Like Kenny said, you must mix the East with the West, the Yin with the Yang, harmony. Somebody clip that. I probably eat 3 chicken breasts, some rice and broccoli, and then I have some gluten-free pancakes, scrambled eggs, diced potatoes, home fries, and some steak. Before practice, he might have kale, an avocado, or banana, just something to hold in his system. 3 days a week, he takes IV fluids that include a shot of vitamin E, cozinine, Q10, and other nutrients. So he's on the IV therapy as well. Which, like, I am for IV therapy for like professional level athletes. For the Karen that's just been out tanning at the beach or had a hard night drinking. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the IV therapy really does help with the hard night drinking, but you do not need to be doing that kind of stuff. But professional athletes, it's 100% worth it. A little bit non-Baltimore related here, guys. Florida be Floridaing. You feel me? We're about 5 hours or 5 to 7 hours from Jacksonville. And if you haven't seen this story, this is over on ESPN. Quantai, ESPN senior writer, check her story out. So the Jacksonville Jaguars have sued their former employee who apparently stole $22 million from the team in a Florida state court filing Thursday, and apparently $66.6 million in damage. Amit Patel, who oversaw the team's virtual credit card program, pleaded guilty in federal court in December to stealing more than $22 million from the team over a 3.5-year period to pay off gambling debts and fund a life of luxury. In Thursday filings, the team said that Patel stole the bulk of the money, $20 million, in just 8 months. In the lawsuit, the team alleged fraudulent misrepresentation, breach of fiduciary duty, and civil theft. The claims are based on Patel's admissions in a federal court. Patel's lawyers, Alex King, did not immediately respond to ESPN's request for comments. Florida be Floridian, guys. Another reason why Amar Khan's probably going to move the Jacksonville Jaguars out of Jacksonville into London for the NFL or Toronto. Because stuff like this is happening. I wonder if there will be any repercussions on NFL cap. I highly doubt it. It's not really probably enough money. But I know that they're talking about in this case the ability of the Jacksonville Jaguars to get the money back without the need or intervention of U.S. federal agencies, which then would change things a little bit. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, and I couldn't ignore that without letting you go to the weekend and be like, guys, you hear that story about the Jaguars? So when you're sitting out having a beer with your boys this weekend, talking shit about the NFL and different teams, you can thank me for that one. And as we're wrapping up here with R&R here on Fridays, again, thanks for everyone for dropping in. We got, of course, a beautiful castle picture of the castle. This is the Under Armour Performance Center, a.k.a. the Castle, in Owen Mills, Florida, the home of the Baltimore Ravens. We've talked about it in some other streams and on Twitter. This is like one of the selling points to people when they come to Baltimore and they view our facilities. We like to show this off a little bit, to our free agents. It really does give you that vibe, man, like it's a castle in a sense. I am so excited. So last year, I actually did not get to go. Last minute, we had some problems. I did not get to go to the training camp practices at the castle. I did drive 24 hours to go to the one I had, because I got them at different dates because, the camp tickets are crazy. So I did not get a chance to go see the castle last year, and I'm super excited. We have secured 3 tickets on back-to-back-to-back days at training camp, the 13th, 14th, and 15th at 1:20 p.m. At the castle. And so, guys, for Raven fans know this, but if you don't, let me inform you. The way these tickets work is it's for a car. The ticket is essentially a parking pass. Therefore, you are allowed to bring as many people as you would like to the camp, as long as they fit legally in a car, normal car. With that being said, I'm potentially, I'd already discussed it with my girlfriend. She's not going to be going with me. I'm probably going to fly up this year instead of driving up, just because 19 to 24 hour drive compared to like a 2.5 hour flight, direct flight too. So we're going to fly up, and I'll be honest, I would prefer not to have to rent a car. So I put it out on Twitter, and I'm thinking about, seeing if some people want a carpool. You help me out with a ride to training camp, and you get to bring basically you and your friends on my ticket. So August 13th, 14th, and 15th, Raven fans, if you're, see this video, if you hang out, come chill with us, hit me up on Twitter, Darwin's Raven 20 on Twitter. I would love to be able to meet some fans and have like a good time going there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it would be a very unique experience. Of course, I want to be able to share the experience. A lot of people did not get passes to training camp. I don't even know how I got 3, to be honest with you. Originally, I was not getting any. It looked like they were all sold out instantly, and I kept just Like, all right, these 3 days, no other days. These 3 days, boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, one came through, and then the second one came through, and then the last, I was mind blown. It was so exciting. Strange Monsters and Great Searches, Chapter 6, An Octopus to Remember, William DeFalco. Interesting. Kenny says, Darwin, I actually know someone in Florida. They are up north. He's a Niner fan, though. Yeah, I remember someone in I've seen in the chats is here in Florida. I'm down south. I'm like southwest Florida, almost in Naples. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, I had my heart up, guys. I was interviewing for a large aerospace and defense contractor down in Naples. I was very excited for the job. I had landed multiple interviews. I actually went down toward their manufacturing facility. Um, God, I thought I nailed the interview. I thought it was a great fit. But I got news the other day that I did not get the job, and that was devastating, crushing, to be 100% honest with you. Um, was really looking forward to and hoping to bring in some money. Of course, another thing, guys, we're raising money for here slowly on the channel is Baltimore, of course, traveling to Tampa this year, Monday Night Football on October 21st at 8:15 p.m. We're really looking to hopefully maybe, of course, not only get tickets to the game this year, but possibly, really try to make an experience out of it, find some other Florida Raven fans and meet up and, I'm about 2 hours from Tampa, so I'm probably going to end up driving it. But it would be a wonderful experience, again, to meet up with some Raven fans and just have a good time out there. But with that, guys, that's basically the end of the R&R this Friday. I really appreciate anyone and everyone for coming in, hanging out with us. We've been going for about 45 plus minutes here. It is gym night too, so actually I can smell. I got the oven on. I'm about to bake some wild berry muffins and scarf them down real quick, so I got something in my stomach before I start drinking my Deer Antler pre-workout. I'll be honest, guys, if anyone's like into pre-workout or anything like that, I am not feeling bucked up that much. I tried a new pre-workout called Bucked Up. Supposedly got like the deer antler stuff in it, like Ray Lewis took in that final Super Bowl run for his torn triceps. And I don't know, man. I kind of miss my C4 a little bit. It really got me there. But thank you again, Kenny, Grandizer, Penguin, Carcast, and Hassan, everyone for dropping in. Joe Stevens. A lot of these guys, by the way, are YouTube streamers, so make sure you drop in, check out their channels. Kenny's got a show. You know what? Oh, I don't have my phone. It's on the charger. I was gonna pull up the email. Kenny's got a show tomorrow night, I believe. I'm gonna try to hop in there. I don't think I have any other previous commitments. I've already talked to the girlfriend about it because for those that don't know, what usually goes on is the weekends I usually spend a lot of time with the girlfriend. We play Fortnite, Stardew Valley, team fight tactics on League of Legends, various fun Power Worlds a little bit. That's kind of our thing, and we're getting ready here for a move this Wednesday. We're going to be upgrading. We're going to get a bigger room for our PCs. You can't see it, but we have giant, like 300-pound computer desks with hutches that are like back to back right now with like matching PCs in a sense with matching game chairs. It's a cute little setup, and I keep convincing her. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, man, we need to be like a cute streaming couple. Just stream games together, have fun, make TikTok videos all day. I showed her my merch shop, and she's like, I would love to just design merch, and I'm like, let's do it. If you haven't seen, guys, we've got some new merch also in the merch shop. I got to start figuring out a way how to bring that into my stream, actually. I'm going to try something while we're here live on stream, actually, that I haven't done before. So pardon with me while we try this out. If anyone's got any questions, any NFL type of related, feel free to drop them in the chat while I do this real quick. What I'm doing is going to my studio. Trying to, I should say. studio, and I want to see if I can pull my merch in like while I'm doing this, basically. That's my copyright. I don't want that. Here's the control room. Okay, so this is what I want. I'm trying to see again if I can pull in my... Okay, so there's the shopping, tag products. We tagged our Trippy Raven tote bag, available for $16.99. Oh, okay, it probably pins it in my chat. So if you go in, of course, into the chat after the video, you can check out, we've got our Trippy Raven tote bag now available for $16.99. Be one of the first ones to own your official Darwin's Raven merchandise. Of course, we've got our Fanatics, SeatGeek, and IHG, that's the International Hotel Group codes. Make sure you use our links. We've got them in all our other live videos. I did not get them in this one, but we'd greatly appreciate it. But with that, doesn't seem like I'm getting any questions. No one's popping into chat right now. Again, check out Kenny 49ers. He's got a show coming up Saturday. Joe Stevens of Seahawks Talks always got some great shows going on. CarCast has always got 49ers content going, and Penguin's got his own channel as well. But with that, guys, it's been a great one. Thank you for joining in to the Friday R&R Ravens recap. I'm your boy, Darwin's Raven, a.k.a. D-Rave, a.k.a. Levi, whatever you want to call me. And I appreciate you for joining.